Hello, my name is Kieran Watkins and I'm 20 years old. I'd firstly like to say how grateful I am for the opportunity to be able to be in the running for this position, and I'm incredibly excited to see where it takes me. I'm currently studying part-time in Stellenbosch University. I've completed my majors in psychology and socioinformatics, and I am completing my minor next year in philosophy. With that being said, I'd like to explain why those are so important to me. In terms of philosophy and psychology, I'm incredibly passionate about people and what drives them and motivates them to behave and interact in the ways that they do. I'm also incredibly passionate about technology, which is why socioinformatics has been such an important part of who I am. It's helped me to understand better how technology works and how we as people need to utilize it in the best way possible to be more efficient and productive in the way we perform things. The most challenging project that I've worked on is definitely the one with Hot Cocoa Interior Designs, in which I went for 2 weeks to work in the offices in Cape Town, and then beyond that, we went to London and worked on the finishing touches for a house in Hampstead. And it was a five-story house, so it was incredibly challenging. To start with, it was difficult because I was very unfamiliar with their systems and their processes. And for me, I love systems, so it didn't take too long for me to adapt. And it's an incredibly high-pressure environment with hot cocoa, so I did learn very quickly. But I felt incredibly overwhelmed to start with, especially with going across to London. The stakes were high, and working in front of clients, I found it incredibly intimidating. But with that being said, it was also one of the most rewarding experiences I've ever had and the most rewarding project I've ever worked on, and one that was filled with a lot of good memories and a lot of fun. Something that I've accomplished that I'm incredibly proud of is a project that I worked on with one of my partners from university, and we really enjoyed it as we built a website from scratch. It was really exciting and almost invigorating because until I had done this project, I hadn't realized how much I really enjoy UX and UI. And it was really amazing to see the process start from our use cases and our wireframes to when we started doing the actual HTML and CSS code. And that for me was just something I really enjoyed, to see the whole process come together and to work alongside someone who was as passionate and interested in the project as I was, and to see that whole thing come to life was something really special for me and something that I won't forget for quite a long time to come. A time when I surpassed people's expectations. As you will realize, the lighting is slightly different. It is late in the day when I'm recording this. It's because I struggled to answer this question, but I think I found an example of something that is quite important and displays my personality quite strongly. Um, I'm not bringing this up for brownie points or sympathy points. This is simply just something I'm proud of. When I was in matric, my father was terminally ill, and I stayed home to look after him and to continue my studies online. It was a very difficult time as it was during COVID, so I was unable to see any of my friends for a very long time. And this was a very difficult time because I also had to look after my father medically and physically in many ways. And I think I surpassed people's expectations when I still managed, despite all this pressure and intensity going on in my life, by succeeding really well in my matric and getting marks that I was very proud and impressed with. And I think other people didn't expect that. They expected, because of my environment and my circumstances, for my marks to be disappointing and poor. But this wasn't the case. And it's something I'm very proud of and something I'll never forget. When times get tough, pressure gets high, I remember how I performed and behaved in that time. A time in which I made a mistake or failed at something, I believe the most clear example to me is when I worked on my first website. I didn't account for mobile formatting, which was quite embarrassing at the time. I finished the project and I was really proud of it. I thought it looked incredible. And as soon as we were told we needed to open it up as a presentation on a phone, I got really nervous. And obviously, as I did, everything went wrong. Pictures were the wrong size, wrong shape, everything was squashed and it looked awful. It was really embarrassing, but something I learned a very big lesson from, and I now know to account for different devices when I do any kind of design. In order to answer this question, I am going to keep in mind what your company is about. From my understanding, you are a company that is aiming to improve users' experience and reduce any kind of conflict escalation through your product of software as a service. With this in mind, I'm someone who's also passionate about improving my designs in whatever way I can to reduce the conflict or frustrations that people may have in them. This also thus increasing efficiency and productivity, not only for the company, but for the people who interact with the software. I'm also someone who, as I've mentioned before, has a background in both psychology and information sciences, which I believe are incredibly important parts of design.